Hey.
What's up? Oh, hey.
Hi,
Wow,
family.
I'm working.
Are you?
Good to see you.
So we were debating about what to discuss today, but I think at the end of the day, the biggest topic we discussed was a listener text about race.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. Yeah, so what was the question from the listener?
We got a text. I know this is paper. We've printed off the text message. I'm old-fashioned like Ron.
Yeah.
We are old-fashioned. Question is, hey, how come some broadcasters or people in general say African American and other days it's just black? Seems to me like that helps keep some of the race issues alive. Because I don't hear anybody referred to as German American or Swedish American. We're all just Americans.
Right.
If you're born here, you're just Americans. Explain. As in, why say African American or black at all? Why not just say American?
Right.
And we got a lot of various responses to that. I think there's two biblical standpoints for this, but by the way, we're curious to know from you, why? Like, why make that distinction?
Yeah.
Why the label? Right.
Why use the label African American or black at all? Why not just say, hey, I'm American?
We're watching for your answers, but you said you had a biblical...
Yeah, I think there's two places we went today on this. One of them is Galatians 3:26 to 28. For you are all children of God through faith in Christ Jesus, and all who've been united with Christ in baptism have put on Christ like putting on new clothes. There's no longer Jew or Gentile, slave or free, male or female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. So our unity is in Christ. However, Revelation 7, 9. After this I saw a vast crowd, too great to count, from every nation and tribe and people and language, standing in front of the throne and before the Lamb. They were clothed in white robes, yada, 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 praising God. The yadas aren't in there. But bottom line, clearly distinguishable in front of the throne, people's cultural differences. It's obvious there's differences.
Yeah.
And so we can't totally ignore them.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do we do with this?
I want to say good morning to Joe. Good morning, Joe. Thanks for joining the discussion. And just we're asking you, why are labels important in terms of African American, black? Should we even have a label, or just call each other just American? Thank you, Joe. And I want to stop and acknowledge Krista. She said, Janelle, you're so pretty. Thank you, Krista.
Aww.
I just did my hair like right during the show, so.
You should have seen before she did all that. Just
Oh,
kidding.
Yeah.
She
So
spent most of the show today flat ironing her hair. Where's your flat iron?
I did. My flat iron.
Don't burn
I'll show
yourself.
you in a second. Very important. It was like my weapon for
Show
today.
them what you were doing to me during the show.
And
I'm trying to
Krista-
talk about race,
The flat iron.
and you're over here like,
Yes. Do it. Yeah.
All day.
Yeah. So, Krista, let us know where you're calling from, and Joe, where are you calling from? What do you guys? Are you guys at work? Yeah, I love that. And I enjoyed the discussion about different people coming from different perspectives, because there's like good arguments on all sides, because we want unity. And even in the scriptures you've shared this morning about the importance of being one in Christ, and and seeking unity, but acknowledging personality.
so okay, you're Dominican American, sorta. You're Afro-Dominican.
Sorta.
I mean, what would you say? What's your label?
I would say Black Dominican. Now, I don't walk around saying Black Dominican. I just say Dominican.
I
I'm
thought it was
Dominican.
Afro-Dominican.
Some people say Afro-Dominican. I just say Black Dominican.
Does it matter?
To me, it doesn't. Some people that are into stuff like that, I've seen make a big deal out of it. I'm just,
So okay,
yeah.
you're in America. Just come on. Why do you need that? Why do you need all that? You're in America.
That one to me is a little easier, because I think you can relate to American pride and the love of country and the love of your flag and all of that. I feel the same way. So
You don't like America then?
Well, I love my country. I was born in Jamaica. But I know, yeah, like I live here. I got here when I was 3. My kids are American. My sisters were born here.
Your husband's American.
My husband's American, but my Dominican culture is very much a part of who I am. I love my food. I love the people. I love the music. So for somebody to tell me, no, you're American, you're blocking off a big part of who I am.
Well, so then, I mean, wouldn't it create more unity in your marriage? I mean, Len's African American, you're Dominican American. Afro-Dominican.
Right.
I'm already confused. So why don't you all just
Yeah.
forget it and just be more united and you're all Americans.
No, in terms of
I'm asking this
Yeah.
for discussion, unless anyone think I mean it. Okay.
Joe's calling before I answer. Joe's calling or texting from Painesville, and he says,
Okay.
I believe it started out as a pride thing back in the civil rights movement. And Milagros says she loves the show. That's my mommy. But
Hola, manita.
Hola, manita. My husband very much, even in the beginning when he visited my family, fell in love with the culture. In fact, he went to the Dominican parade in Rhode Island, and it was like there were flags everywhere. And during the parade, it's super cool. Puerto Ricans come to the Dominican parade and vice versa.
Oh, wow.
And they'll like hold their flag. And so when he saw that, it was a new thing for him because he grew up in Oberlin, didn't see that a lot. And he loved that. He was, he loved the food, fell in love with the plátanos and arroz con habichuela. Plantains, yeah.
Oh.
So I love that he celebrated my culture. That's like, a good thing. But it's a different discussion when we're talking about African American and Black because they're
Right.
actually born here. So,
Yeah,
and we saw a lot of your comments.
And what do you think of his point, of Joe's point? The idea of separating from America as a whole, the idea of being African American or Black, was born out of the civil rights movement. Any comments on that?
Yeah, Joe just shared that.
Yeah. I don't know. I should remember I was alive during those years, or old enough to remember it, but I don't know. It seemed to me like the African American terminology was later.
Yeah.
But still may have been part of the ongoing civil rights movement, because civil rights movement you can't lump it into 67 to 70 and then everything was good.
Right.
I think it's a consequence of the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
But it was for so many centuries, the idea of being African American was viewed as a negative thing,
Right.
by society as a whole, not by African Americans, but
Right.
by society as a whole.
Right.
And so there was this shift, as I understand it historically, in like late 60s, early 70s, where it was like, hold up, no, I'm proud to be Black. It's good to be Black. It's not bad to be Black in America.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you had you can see it reflected in music. James Brown,
Yeah.
Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud.
Right.
It was like, it became an anthem of sorts.
Right. I see myself doing that with my kids because the majority culture and media celebrates the white culture and being white and blue eyes. Like, that's what they see. I feel myself fighting against it a lot and like stressing to them, look at your brown skin and it's like cinnamon, and like doing that whole thing of like find pride.
Why do you
I've
need
got
to do
brown
that?
eyes. Is that
You
okay?
got brown eyes, yeah. Well, I need to do that because what society's telling them in terms of what's beautiful, even if it's implicit with commercials and magazines, etc., what's beautiful doesn't look like them. So I need to like be explicit and intentional in brown skin's beautiful. So it's a different discussion it's not a label thing, but when you brought up the pride thing back then, it reminded me of how I address my kids with that, for them to find beauty
By the way,
in that.
hey Tricia, thanks for the nice words. Krista, love that you're with us.
And Krista says she works third shift in a nursing facility.
Working harder than you.
Yeah.
And she's addicted to the morning show.
Well,
Third shift
I'll blame it.
rocks.
but
Oh,
now,
really?
okay, so and as we're talking about, someone texted us and asked, why even use labels like African American and Black when all that does is serve to divide us and we should be seeking unity.
Yeah.
Somebody would go, hold up, it's 2019. Why do you need to tell your kids that Black is beautiful and that they're not represented in culture? What are you talking about? I'm not saying that. I'm saying someone would go, what do you mean? It's 2019. Of course Black's beautiful. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I do, actually.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. No, like, because, like if you look at media and you look at, even like there's a documentary, I forgot the name, but like dark skin versus lighter brown skin, there is stigmas and in terms of what's more beautiful and what's not. And so what I stress a lot is whatever you are, celebrate that. So an example, one of my girls has like more Afro-looking hair, and the other one has hair that looks a little bit more like this. And so I tell each of them, whatever the Lord gave you, you celebrate that and make that look awesome. So it's the same with the skin color. I think what's pushed more is the majority culture in terms of beauty. The standard is different to, somebody that looks like me.
That makes tons of sense. And again, I'm asking for discussion, not necessarily out of my own experience.
Oh my goodness. Awesome. Amalia. Hola. Amalia. She's listening. She says her answer is because it's not mainstream.
Yeah.
Brown skin and just the way we look, it's just not mainstream. So you got to push it harder on the young girls coming up. Amalia, her family's Panamanian from Panama, so she's super awesome.
Ah.
So it's not Panama, it's Panama?
Panama. Yeah, thank you for joining us, Amalia.
Let me just say, my granddaughter has an American Girl doll that she's dressed up in her cheerleading outfit like what she wears. And this American Girl doll is an African American doll.
Yeah.
I forget her name. And my daughter had black dolls when she was growing up. She didn't think anything of it. She just went to the store. This is the one I want.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that even makes me think of my experience on we almost did an experiment of sorts when I lived in Chicago, when my kids were little.
Yeah.
I mean, they were, goodness, like 5, 4, and 3 maybe. Nonetheless, as they grew up, we spent 6 years there. We didn't point it out, and we were immersed in an African American community, in an African American church.
Yeah.
And like they didn't pick it up, which I don't even know quite what to do with that.
Yeah.
Like I've told the purple dress story. There was, I didn't tell it today on the show, but there was one time around Easter, we're all waiting in the narthex for the Easter program, where the kids were going to go up, and my daughter and I were at the time the only white people among like at least 100 people. And my daughter yells out loud. She goes, "Daddy, you're going to be able to pick me out perfectly when I'm up on stage." And I'm like, "Oh no, okay,
Oh,
okay."
goodness.
And everyone's going to go, "What? You're..." And she goes, "I'm the one in the purple dress."
She
And I was
didn't
like,
realize.
"Oh." And then I even remember a day when my son, we're sitting on our front porch, and he goes, "Huh, hey Dad, why are there so many brown people in our street?" Like he didn't even know the vocabulary of black, because he was like, black, it's not black, it's brown.
Right.
He didn't even understand.
Just talking facts.
And so there is a way, isn't there, for us to have this like it matters, but it doesn't.
Right.
Like we teach each other these differences, and yet I'm also the guy that says differences are good, not bad.
Right. Amalia says, we asked Amalia, what is the definition of mainstream? And she says, I would define it as what look is mainly pushed by through TV, magazine, and music. Do you guys agree with Amalia? What is the definition of mainstream? So she's saying what's pushed by TV. Kimasha, who actually called the show, she says, shouldn't the question more so be, why do we still struggle with biases and exclusions based on race and culture? If we answer that question, then we can really unpack the need for the black community to self-love through self-identification.
Yeah, because she's pointing at perhaps the root of the problem, that this wouldn't be an issue if it wasn't an issue. Isn't that what she's saying?
Yeah.
Like, no one would be bothered by, why do you call yourself black? Why do you call yourself African American? Why do you call yourself Italian? If it wasn't an issue.
Right.
Like, if there wasn't a problem in society that made it an issue, it wouldn't upset us.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, no one gets mad at Irish American. We all get excited on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Nobody gets mad at Italian American. We go, hey.
Columbus Day.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if that's the case, why does it make us mad that African Americans would do that?
That is so true.
Isn't that indicative of a larger problem?
Yeah.
And they don't have a day.
Well, it's
Martin Luther King Day.
Right.
Yeah, they've got February. I mean, it's...
But then when African American History Month comes up, everybody goes, why do we need a month for that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No one gets mad about St. Patrick's Day.
Or,
Nobody gets mad about, what other months do we have? I don't know.
a Hispanic.
Yeah, no one gets mad about that.
Yeah.
You ever notice that?
Even though it shouldn't be some. I know some
Most
people
people
think
don't
it
know
shouldn't
about
be.
it.
Do people get mad at that?
I have no. I have
Hispanic
not heard
American
people-
Day?
No.
Why do we need that?
Yeah. Well, we got to wrap it up. The conversation always continues on Brian and Janelle on Facebook. So make sure to share your thoughts. We're watching because guess what comes up later? Follow-up Friday. And so this topic, I will not be surprised if we end up talking about it on Friday. Thank you for joining us. Share us. And tomorrow, join us for the show and overtime. That's the way you like it, Brian?
Overtime. Overtime.